Alrighty. So so this week we did talk about axe to grind. Um so sorry. Um so in this film you play the killer, and you've played killers many times. Also the the scream queen, final girl type. What do you prefer to play?
Well, it's absolutely true that I've played both. And I would say that I've played the Scream Queen, if you will, meaning like more of a victim type of character,
Yeah, more.
very, very, very few times. And a long time ago, like I have definitely done it. It's not something I relate to, so I think I play the more off kilter characters better because I relate to them more, and I think I could bring more to it. Um, but yeah, I mean, I've definitely played both, but I've played the Scream Queen so little, which is why I'm always kind of thrown off when I'm so constantly called one. Oh, endlessly, endlessly. When in fact, I sort of view myself as, like you say, the killer or the more violent or off kilter character. That's what I relate to. So it is a weird term for me.
Hmm. Um, do you have any memories from that film you'd like to share with us? Anything that
Um,
pops?
yeah. Oh, I have tons of memories from that movie. Well, the most important was, and I'm just going to pull it up so I get the name right here. The most important memory I had was the hospital that we were shooting in, and it's like notoriously haunted. And
Oh,
people would constantly say, "Well, did that affect you or the character?" And it's really strange, but I will say that if a place is very old or it has like a heavy presence, I don't know if it's haunted, but if it has that vibe to it, it's always easier for me to do these kind of characters. Now, what am I tapping into? I don't know. It's a good question, right? But
yeah.
maybe it's something otherworldly. I'm just going to look it up here really quick, see if I could pull it up. Um, and I also will say, like, so few people talk about the fact that Guy Torry is in the movie, and he was in American History X. And that was like,
Oh,
he was a starring role in that movie. So, I mean, that it always surprises me when people, especially when they're writing about it, they kind of pass over that when in fact he's like I don't know, that was such an important movie and thought it was such a cool movie and he was in that. Linda Vista Hospital, that's it. The Linda Vista Hospital, which at the time was supposed to be torn down, but I understand that it wasn't after all. So,
mm,
and and the irony is, I know that you would mention that you want to talk about Acts 2 grind, meaning part two. Stormy Daniels did, I believe it was an adult film, but I do not know. It could have been a short horror film. It was either a short horror film or an adult film in that hospital not too long ago. So it's kind of funny that she had told me that it was, watching the movie was weird for her because she had recently, meaning I don't know, last couple of years or whatever.
yeah.
I'd been there filming something, so I thought that was kind of funny.
Huh,
Hmm.
interesting. Oh, so like, how is the production going on the second one? Because I know there's a crowdfunding campaign currently going on, and I know that there's the cast has been pretty much announced. Has it started filming yet, or?
No, no. I mean, it's doing really well. It's getting a lot of attention. It's raising a nice amount of money, which is awesome for the movie, as you know, like it's really awesome for the movie. It's got a wonderful cast of actresses, and the gentleman playing Norman's coming back again, which I'm so thrilled about. Let me just get his name. I can never say his last name properly.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me that because I'm going to read it. So I might not mess it up if I read it. Hold on. It's Adrian House. Oh my God, he's gonna kill me. Adrian, I'm just gonna say Adrian is coming back as Norman, who is my all-time favorite character of all, because I love what he did with that character, and I love the fact that he's coming back. So I'm extremely excited about that. Um, and so the script is being fine-tuned. It's done, but it's being fine-tuned. The raising of the money is going well. The casting is going well. So yeah, December it should be the shoot should begin. They have the dates in December, and unless some unforeseen massive calamity happens, as far as a pandemic or something, it's definitely set for a December shoot.
All right, cool. Um, have you shot anything since the whole pandemic thing started? And if you have,
No,
like, okay,
no, but here's the thing: I have done, which is pretty awesome. I've done maybe I was at 3 or 4 movies that were intentionally written so that my scenes were like I shot them with my iPad, but they were intentionally in the movie to be seen that way. So that was very interesting. Another movie I did a pretty massive voiceover for. The movie's called Freak, directed by Bianca Crespo in Philly. She just wrapped on that movie, and because of the pandemic, I was going to do 2 roles, one on the set and just one VO. But I just ended up doing the VO one. But everything everything's going really good. There's a lot of people get creative, and I really want to say that people like not just Lloyd Kaufman, but David Lynch, and you even see like Vincent D'Onofrio on Twitter doing videos. People get insanely creative with this time. They have this downtime. They're not doing films. They're not wrapped up in day-to-day business. Business as usual in the office. Everybody's kind of really shut down, but they just keep creating. Like, go to David Lynch's YouTube channel. You see every day he's got new content. He just can't not create. And then you go to Lloyd's YouTube channel. It's been shut down. So Lloyd's having a terrible time being shut down by YouTube for the censorship, and so that's really shitty. That's really, really shitty. So he's having a really hard time with that, but doesn't stop him from making videos, and that's what you see with really creative people. Is you just see them kind of push through regardless of what's going on.
yeah, and like as a also like a big music fan like us personally, you see a bunch of bands like doing creative stuff currently. If it's releasing brand new music that they weren't planning to do, or
Mm-hmm.
or if it's like some type of like online concert thing,
The
which
quarantine sessions,
yeah,
I'd like to
yeah,
call them.
pretty cool.
Very cool, and they're playing their instruments sort of acoustic, and they're just sitting at home and they're taping themselves and they're doing things that they never would have done before, like the studio wouldn't have let them, or they may not have, for a million different reasons, and they're sort of creating entertainment in a lot of cases with the really cool artists for free. And then there's other artists that do need to raise some money because they live from gig to gig, whether it's actor or musician, and so they'll have like online stuff that you can buy really inexpensive tickets for. A lot of them, pay what you can afford type of tickets. And that is like completely cool. And I've really liked that one element about what this has caused to happen. I think it's pretty amazing. It just like people are like shining in different ways, and I'm really digging that part. Nothing to do with the actual pandemic and what that does, but just this one element of, the reaction to it is pretty amazing.
That is true. Um, so going back to Lloyd a bit here, you've always, well, not always, but like for quite a few years, you've been connected with the whole Tromaville universe. You,
Mm-hmm.
um, and I believe your most recent film that's like now kind of out. I know there was a screening. It's
Right.
Fierce Shitstorm. Now,
Yes.
how is how has that been screening it so far, and like the reaction from like fans and reviewers? I guess reviewers. Uh,
Well, it's interesting. Shakespeare's Shitstorm
look,
just premiered on Saturday night for the very first time at Fantasia Fest, which was streaming its festival strictly online. So that's the only place it's been seen so far. That's one viewing so far. It's not out yet, and the fans are really enjoying it. And the reviewers, it's really blowing my mind because I've been working with Troma since 1992. I've done a boatload, pun intended, because the movie's about a boat, a boatload of other work, serious, comedy, all different types of films. But I have known and worked with Lloyd since 1992. So I could say honestly, so far, and it's only been one screening, mind you, but this has been like such an amazing. I'm so happy for Lloyd, proud of Lloyd, because the reviewers are really loving it. They're getting it. They're digging it. Even if they say, it's completely offensive in so many ways. At the same time, they really are getting it, and they're saying it's their. A lot of them are saying it's their favorite one, and I could see why, because the commentary on the society today, like literally today, with the social justice warriors and all cancel culture, everything, it's all addressed in this movie. So I mean, it's pretty wild. I mean, it's been the reaction from one screening has been amazing. So with that said, with it only being one screening so far, we'll see where it goes, but I can only see it, being loved, because I think it is something really special. I really do. And I haven't always felt that way about movies like I've done with Lloyd. I've felt, oh, it's a really good one. But Terraformer, was always my favorite. And as a matter of fact, it still is. But this
okay.
one is definitely very, very special because it's just a pure slide on all the shit that's going on now. You know, all the social media stuff and big pharma and all that kind of stuff. I mean, Lloyd always touches on, what's topical, but this is really, it's a pretty good, it's a pretty good one. Like, I can't wait for more people to see it. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, because I mean, it was definitely on my most excited films to see coming up. So,
Oh,
oh,
good, good, good. Oh, you're gonna have fun. Trust me, you're definitely gonna have fun watching it for sure. I promise.
I actually had a question about Terraformer.
Yeah.
It's I actually like. Well, the movie was out there. It was crazy. It was like it became one of my favorite films. I actually for the first time watched it like earlier this year,
Mm-hmm.
and I was actually wondering like how was the cast as zany as the actual movie, like because it seemed like the movie was all over the place, like, but it also made me think like how was the cast behind the scenes, like were they all just like goofing off at the same way, or like
Well, they were just as crazy, but no, they weren't crazy like their characters. Like, obviously, we all know this, but they're just characters. But at the same
yeah.
time, they were. they were a very special group of people, and I attribute not just Lloyd, but a big part of that was Will Keenan, because Will Keenan was working very closely with Lloyd on that movie, and he took basically all of his favorite local, either notorious or actually famous subculture people in New York, whether they were from bands or they were poets or they were, really drag kings or drag queens or whatever they may be, or performance artists. But they were that he called like the best of underground New York City and got like these insanely crazy, amazing talented people. And I really credit Will Keenan with, that unbelievable, unforgettable cast of Terraformer, because with other actors, it would have been a very different movie. And I'm sure there would have been really good people in there in different levels, but it really has the magic because Will Keenan did what he did and he cast it the way he cast it. So yeah, I think it's like one of those things that boom, it just comes together. It's just everything kind of clicks into place, especially with the casting. And that's, to me, like for my taste, a perfect example of like a Troma movie being cast like to the nines. Just perfect.
Yeah, like I've always called that movie the most Troma-like Troma film.
Yes, yes,
It's
I
just
agree.
all the way. How did you first get involved with Troma? Actually, how did that all kind of happen?
Well, in '92, I was actually writing an article on trauma, and when I was done interviewing Lloyd, he's like, "Hey, you're an actress as well. Why don't you do some? We pick up movies that other people have done, and we create new artwork for the box cover and the mini posters or big posters, whatever, and the ones that used to get sent around to the video stores." And he says, okay, so, why don't you come and do some like poster, like artwork modeling for the poster art for other movies? And I said, sure, that sounds like fun. I was doing a ton of theater at that point. I'd done a couple few movies at most, but so I was like really excited. Then I started working on like cable TV. We would have skits in between the Troma movies, whether it was a German cable company or it was in the States or it was in England. They would have bumpers, they were called. So little like intros and outros to the movies, but also little skits in between the movies when they would have a Troma marathon. So I did a whole bunch of those. And then whatever Troma was doing, like if they were part of a parade for, any particular event, we went to the mayor's party in New York City, and I was there with Mr. T. That was a riot, and then just all those type of promotional side things until '95 when I made my first feature film with them, Romeo and Juliet. That was the first feature film that I was in, besides all this other TV stuff and everything. So.
Mhm. Well, now, kind of changing gears, kind of, but not totally. Because like Troma is it's kind of like a big like punk rock fuck you to the whole film industry company,
Mm-hmm.
and I know that you also like punk rock music, especially like the Clash and like Ramones and stuff like that. I
Mm-hmm.
just personally know who's your favorite punk rock band.
Oh, no doubt it's a Clash.
Okay.
Yeah, no doubt it's the Clash. I mean, I like a lot, like Rancid. I like, so many different groups, and I'm also a really big ska fan.
Oh,
Um, Huge, massive ska fan, because they were really like, the ones from the '70s. They were really just as punk rock as punk rock. They had commentary about society, about the class system, because ska really came out of England. Influenced by music from Jamaica, of course, but Yeah, so it was all about like class structure and just fuck the system. So I mean, ska had a lot to say back then. I don't know it now today. I think it's more just fun dance music. I don't know, but back then, like the specials, if you just listen to their,
Yes.
lyrics, it's amazing. It's amazing. So I mean, they're really just as punk as in a punk band as far as what they have to say. As soon as a band gets political like that, and they really have something to say and they want to say it like really strong and powerfully, they kind of fall into that genre in a way.
Yeah.
What's your favorite special song?
Oh my god, so many. Blank Expression is so good. um Stupid Marriage is great. um Little Bitch, I love that song.
Oh,
Um, oh my, it's not there. You know what? It's really hard for me. Concrete Jungle is just amazing. I mean, it's really hard for me to find one that I don't like. They're the type of band that maybe one or two songs I could skip on a CD, but even if I didn't skip them, I would still be happy. Like I don't dislike them, but I just have
mhm.
ones that I'm more passionate about than others. Also, really like on a different vibe, Talking Heads. I love the Talking Heads. I mean, just the how they write the words that they put together. I think I'm really into like the writing of lyrics. Like that really means a lot to me. So that's what kind of attracts me to different bands, even more than the genre, really. I mean, I
Hmm.
love listening to Eminem. Why? Because I like to just listen to the writing. Just his writing is insane. And
Yeah.
just, Joyner Lucas and all these guys, like they're just really, really good writers. And they have something they really want to say. And it's personal. And it's not just about, you know, um, falling into any traps of any particular genre. Like it's not just about, money or women or this or that. It's about their particular experience. And then as soon as it gets into that, that's when it gets insanely interesting for me.
Have you ever had any aspirations to become a musician, like start a band or make a?
No, no, I never did. I never did because I could never sing, and maybe I could, but I was always told at a very young age I couldn't. So I'm very like wired to believe, we'll put it that way. But I really don't think I can, like, at all. And I've always wanted to play piano, guitar. I have a guitar. But these things are like they're really it's really important, just like acting. Like it's easy to say, oh, I'm in a band or I'm an actor or I'm a whatever. But you know what? To me, without putting in the work and the studying, you're really not. Like you have to be perfectly honest with you, to cut to the chase here. I
Okay.
studied for, oh my God, when I moved to New York, honestly, I never I wasn't able to give a good performance for a solid 10 years. It took me that long of studying and trying and trying and failing and trying and failing until finally I started to find my, my way, my, vibe, my, how I
Yeah.
do it, because it's different for everybody. I mean, it's just like what Bruce Lee says is completely true. It's like you have to study many different techniques and then add your own. And literally, his famous quote: "Use what is useful and discard the rest." And that's what you have to do with these techniques too. You just got to go through them all, take what bits and pieces that work from you from each one, then add your own swing to it, and then now, okay, now you're going somewhere. And
Yeah.
that's, for me, it takes that long. So nothing comes to me, no matter what it is, quick and easy. Nothing. It's a lot of studying. So it's the same thing with musical instruments. So, have I had, you know, at least 10 years to really buckle down and give it the respect it deserves? No, I haven't. So because of that, I don't play any musical instruments.
Okay. Um, changing gears here. I know we're kind of getting low on time now, but so you did direct a very enjoyable film, Model Hunger, a few years back. Do you have any plans to direct again, or is that just a one shot type of directing movie?
Well, no, I'm going to as soon as I finish my book. See, the pandemic put a massive change on many, many things, including that. There's a terrific script called Torment Road that James Mogart, who wrote Model Hunger as well, wrote, and I'm in the process of just doing a massive ton of pre-production on it, but I'm a long ways away because of the pandemic and of the raising money to make it. So right now, because of the state of things, I am just focusing on completing my book. And when that's done, then I can go back to the next level on Torment Road. So that's more like a 2021 project at this point, because it really doesn't look like, the pandemic's going to lift enough for too many major things to happen until next year, really. I mean, to be quite honest.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to be lifted anytime soon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of your book, how's it going? Is there like an expected release date yet, or?
Well, it is going to be released next year, 2021. I haven't got an exact date yet. Um, and that's normal and typical. And the pandemic has even affected the publishing business, maybe slightly less, but also because stores are, I guess, some are permanently closed, some are just starting to open back up again all over the world, for bookstores. And most of them we get online, of course, but it will definitely be next year. But yeah, I don't have a date yet for it. But I do have a title, a publisher, and a year. So it's almost there, but I don't have a month.
All right, cool. Um, Yes, about 30 minutes. Leo, you have any more questions? Because I got like tons of questions, but like I don't want to spend too much of your time. So
Uh, I actually just had the one question about. Do you have it like any fun, like a fun story from like a convention? I know nowadays we can't go to conventions, so like this would be kind of like the closest we get to anything from a convention.
Right, is a story about a convention, the good old days when there was conventions, a long time ago, kiddies, a long, long time ago. Used to be such a thing as a place where people would sit behind tables with items that they have made, and people would walk by and possibly buy one from somebody, and the person would sign it for them. They would take it home and hopefully enjoy it, and in some cases they won't, and they'll give it away angrily to their friend and say, "What the fuck is this?" And that's the story of the convention. No, the conventions. Yeah, it's um yeah, very, very different, right? Like, boy, oh boy, since the beginning when I started to go to conventions, and it kind of like goes into the whole topic of horror in general, really, because conventions were always, especially in the beginning, they were super, super fun because they were so special. There were so few of them. They weren't, although, yes, people, of course, yes, people made money, but that wasn't the point of them. They were just really like, people were so jacked to be there, which is not to say they're not now, but it was just different because they were so rare and people would travel the country to come to one. Now we have so many, and that works out for many people. Like, a lot of people live on the road and they go to conventions. So, you know what? Hats off to them. And if that keeps food on people's tables, then I'm extremely happy for them. But there is so many of them now that there's so many like managers and convention controllers that it's become such a business that it's kind of like wrung out in a lot of ways. A little guy, oh well, I'm going to have that person and not that person. Yeah, everybody loves that person, but they don't bring in enough money through the door. So even though that person's really good and they're really cool and they're you know, cult favorite, this one and this one and this one, people are going to pay more money for. And people get like, then you start like getting and this, I know this conversation was supposed to be a funny story, and boy, is this not funny, right? Here's some reality, though, I'm laying down.
Yeah.
But then you get into that whole like worth, people's worth. And when you're talking about artists, that's like death. You can't put a worth, an artistic worth, on somebody like in money form. That's just my opinion. Yeah, we would all love to be in, you know, a Scorsese movie, you know, a Tarantino movie, God rest his soul, a Kubrick movie, if that was even possible. But we still have like our Henenlotters, our Kaufmans, our, you know what I mean? We still have like amazing filmmakers that are on the underground that are super cool. And I mean, even someone like Lloyd, you know, he can have his YouTube channel shut down because of the content. And meanwhile, if you had, you know, make up the name, because I'm not going after anybody in particular, make up the director's name that may have just as much violence and give him a channel, they would never dream of shutting him down because of his, you know, financial and Hollywood level of fame. That would just be an affront to all that is, quote, good, right? So there is a lot of judgment, and that kind of has seeped into even the convention world, where that just used to be like a damn fun time. Now it's like, well, people judging who's going to go where just based on, again, like I said, the door. So, I mean, to me, it's sort of like, okay, well, whatever happens, happens as far as these people, but they're missing out on so many great experiences with so many of these actors who no longer get to go to the convention world because, you know, they weren't in and I love Rob Zombie, but they weren't in Rob Zombie's last movie. That's just, you know, an example, right? But it's a very real one. And now that there's no conventions, unfortunately, the people who live on the road are sort of like experiencing what like a lot of the true indie horror actors experience all year long. And you see, the funny thing is, horror and indie horror has become so, if you will, mainstream and popular and has such a massive following. You know, you got to go back like decades now, a couple decades, but it wasn't like that then. You really were like a counterculture person, and you had to find like this counterculture world of people who saw such movies, and it was such a find. Like, oh my God, did you see, you know, Brain Damage by, you know? But now, if you go on social media, instead of people saying, "Yeah, that was really cool," it'd be like, you know, well, I know more about Brain Damage than you do. And no, 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 no. Like, it's kind of like gotten a little bit crazy and frenzied, as opposed to it just being, you know, just a really fun, you have to find it kind of world. Now it's really mass populated. And so that's my personal experience of how things have kind of shifted. And it's not, trust me, it's not all bad. It's not all good. It's just different. It's just the way it is. It's 2020. So I have no idea if that answered your question.
Actually, it inspired me to write a song.
Good. Yeah. See? Woo.
Yeah, like
it. Well, that's even better than a silly convention story, right?
Yeah.
that definitely put like a different insight on like things. I guess as we wrap it up here, you have any
Sorry. Let's wrap it up on a rant. Yes, that's what we're going to do because that's fun. We're going to rant. We're going to fucking rant. Okay, what? Sorry?
rants are the best. Um, anything you want to plug, like your social media or your D-Mart store? Anything?
Yeah, it's all about the D-Mart. Okay, so really everything is just on my website, meaning social media links, the store, or news or IMDb. It's all linked in one place to make it super easy. So DebbieRochon.com, and whatever you're looking for, it's all there, folks. That's right. Whatever you're looking for, it's all there.
Actually, I have like one more quick uh question for you.
Sure.
As a star of like 200 plus films, well, okay, so this is kind of a two-part question.
Sure.
uh, One, is there any film that you really forgot to, forgot that you were in, and what's a film that you feel that people overlook, compared to like your more known films?
Right. Okay. So is there one that, oh, that's such a good question. Is there one that I've forgotten that I'm in? Um, I would say probably no if you mentioned it to me, but to answer your question in a strange way, it's not like I could recite the movies I've been in. So if you said to me, "Oh yeah, you were in Erotic Mirror," so one of those seduction cinema, movies or something, I would say, "Yeah, I was." And John Wood, a friend of mine, recently got it and said to me, "What was your character's name?" No, I think I wrote on the cover to him, "I don't even know who I am in this movie," or something. And it was very funny. And he said to me, in a message, he said, "Oh, by the way, your character's name was Barbara," because I remember being in it, but it was so long ago, and it was probably like a day or 2 days or something, and it was just funny. So in that regard, I don't remember everything. Like I couldn't recite all of the movies I've been in and the person who directed each one. I couldn't do that, unfortunately. A movie that people have overlooked, well, really, there's a few of them. I mean, all movies have like something, and I'm not sidestepping this or trying to be too nice, but as someone who's directed something, I know movies mean so much to the director that you really have to believe that even something that may have failed on so many levels has so much heart in it. So it's kind of a tough one. I'll try to answer quick. There's a movie called Band, shot in 1988, finished in 1989, was never released. I've been like working so hard trying to get this thing released for 12 years now, like so hard. It's not my movie. Like I'm in it, but it's direct. It was the last movie ever directed by Roberta Findlay. It's on the verge of maybe being released, but it's been on the verge a few times. So it's a movie, it's a comedy about punk rockers. So it's got a special place in my heart. So I want so bad, and it's Banned, band, like that. And it's about a band that's on stage. It's not about a band movie or something like that. So yeah, I would love that to get released. I think a lot of people know about American Nightmare, of course, and I think like Doom Room. I was just talking about Serial Caller. It's an overlooked movie. It's very funny, and it's like a slasher movie. One that I did in England right before I did Axe to Grind. I literally flew from England, did Serial Caller, and I flew to LA and did Axe to Grind. And I think Axe to Grind has found its audience. And I think Serial Caller is very cool, kind of an English version of it, if you will. And I think that movie definitely needs to find its audience. I think Nowhere Man, which is a deadly serious movie, it's not even a horror movie, but it's more of like a noir. I think that really needs to find its audience, but it's very difficult to watch because, there is a rape scene in it, so it's not going to be for everybody. It's very hard to watch, but it is a very dark comedy. My fiance freaks out on me for reasons I won't go into too long of an explanation here, but I cut off his penis in retaliation, and I go on the run with it, and I hold it for ransom, and he only has 24 or 48 hours to get it back, to reattach it, or it
Oh,
won't work anymore. So that's the premise, right? But it's
yeah.
really good. It's a really, really good movie, but it's got some hard scenes to watch. But I wish more people would see that. I am deeply, deeply proud of my performance in that movie. Yeah, I mean, there really is a few more like that really deserve an audience, including like Doom Room, I think, and even I was surprised when the Nicolas Cage um, color out of space, the color out of space, sorry, didn't bring up more of Color from the Dark, because I think Ivan Zuccone, director, is shot in Italy. I think it's just beautiful and genius. And I think it stands like as almost a beautiful double bill. Like these movies are like by visually two fantastic movies. And so there's another one. So there's like quite a few, and I always feel bad because I always like, end the interview and say to myself, oh well damn it, I should have said this one too. But there's really at least a dozen movies that I think never got, for whatever reason, as much attention as they really, really deserve, because there was so much talent and hard work put into them.
Yeah. Yeah, I know for me, like whenever people talk about you online or just whenever, I always like to bring up the, the first film I saw you in. Well, no, there's two films that I always bring up, and that's Bleed and also Dead and Rotting. I always feel like those films don't really get the proper Rochon appreciation.
Yeah, you know that. Thank you for mentioning. Thank you very much for mentioning those, because yeah, for two of the four full moon movies that I've done, and when people talk about full moon movies, because these were, okay. So can I tell a really quick story if we got the time?
Yeah, oh yeah, take your time.
Okay. Okay, so the super quick version of the story is when Full Moon was on sort of a downslide financially. It had a sub company. It was the same thing, Full Moon, but it was called Shadow Pictures, I believe. And so they basically, as opposed to having the couple hundred or a $250,000 for like one of their From Beyond type movies, like a Stuart Gordon directed type movie, they would take 30 or 40 or $45,000 and make a movie instead of having that high budget. So then Jared Bookwalter was commissioned during this period of time. He was an editor on the bigger movies there. So during this period of time, when Charles Band was going through such a difficult period, he said, I know how to make movies for this amount of money. So Charles Band said, okay, try. And so that's when like he started doing it, and then I had gotten involved because he had seen, I think it was American Nightmare or something, or the Troma movies, whatever. He contacted me, and the first one I did was the Witch House 3 movie. And so I ended up doing four. Um, and yeah, there were movies that, and that's why like Bleed and Dead and Rotting, they're so cool, because if if people only knew how little they were made for, like 30, $40,000,
Yeah.
and they're really pretty slick for that. Like, and they're really great movies. Like they've got so much heart to them. Like I think Dead and Rotting's a really fun movie, and I love the characters. And I think Bleed is really special because I felt like, we could watch yourself and you're like, oh, I suck in that scene pretty hard. But these other scenes, I like what I was doing, and you could be honest with yourself. But I really did like, with the exception, like I said, a couple of scenes in there. I think it's a really like heartfelt, totally threw myself in to that. And like that goes back to the very first question that you guys asked me, like, do you consider yourself a scream queen? I don't think, even though she ends up in the trunk, I don't think that's really a scream queen role. I mean, at least in my vision. So that's always been like the kind of troubled, if you will, or evil even, or just confused but not well kind of characters. Even when I did the Telltale Heart, I loved doing that. I was a nurse. It was a reimagining of that story, and I was just went completely ape shit, and then ended up in a mental institution. I mean, it was that those are the kind of roles that are just like the ones that you could just throw so much, like every cell in your body into them, and it's so satisfying.
Yeah. Well, appreciate it once again. I know that I've been a fan for quite a few years. Since like Bleed like came out, I've been watching
Oh,
your.
wow. Well, thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you
Uh,
very much. I appreciate it.
I
and
know Joey's turning me into a fan.
Awesome. Good job. Yes, yes, it's working. It's working.
I always like to get people more involved into like the indie horror scene. Because again, like
Yeah.
I love your stuff, Full Moon stuff, Troma stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Really into like the Full Moon stuff. I wish you would done more like Killjoy movies. Used to the second one, but
Yeah, but you know what? I do have the privilege of saying that when they were starting to make Killjoy 2, I was already involved with it. Like, that was the second movie that I made with them after Witch House 3. So I said to JR, I said, you have to, because Trent and his wife were just, excuse me, moving out to LA from New York at that time. And I said, you have to hire Trent Haga. He's so talented. He's such a good writer. He's such a good line producer. He's such a good actor. Like, you have to. And Jared was like, I'm already staffed up. Like, I got nothing. And I said, please, please, anything you'll see, you will not regret it. You will see. And so I got him in, and the rest is history. That was his first job. And it went on. He worked with them. He wrote, I think it was Hell Asylum for them. And then it just got him going. Like, what he's doing now has nothing to do with that. And it's far more financially rewarding. But I can honestly say through my very, very loyal friendship, because that's the type of person I am, I get joy out of doing that for people. You know what I mean? I just enjoy when I can connect people up like that. Like, I see a perfect talent and a movie that they could really improve just by being involved with. That just, I don't know, that just kind of brings me some kind of joy. So I always have that. Yeah, I was just in that one, but I brought Killjoy. That's kind of cool.
I I didn't know. Oh, hey, man.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, no, we got along famously on Terraformer, which was his beginning work with Troma, 1998, and then he worked with Troma until he went and moved to LA, and he started with Full Moon through the Killjoy movies, like I said, and then did his own, and his own are amazing, amazing. He's incredible writer. Oh my God, his movies are just insane. If anybody listening has not seen them, they should search them out by all means. Anything written, especially written and directed by Trent Haga, you really need to see it.
Well, thank you again. Appreciate you taking your time out to talk to us, hang out for 50 minutes. Appreciate it.
Okay, no problem. Well, thank you guys for having me on. I really appreciate it. Thanks for listening to me rant and rave, and hopefully we'll get a song out of this.
Yes, we will.
Thank you guys so much.
All right,
All
thank
right.
you.
Thank you. Bye.